Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is inspired by one of our viewers who can't find the exact angle of tapered reamer that he needs, and so he's asked if we could do a demonstration on how to accurately change the taper of a reamer. But before we get into that, we're going to start by talking about some new safety gear, why we have it now, why we didn't have it before. And finally, at the end of this video, we're going to be introducing a brand new thing to our channel, and we're pretty excited about that, and we hope you stick around and check it out. So let's start with the new safety equipment first. You'll see we've got our grinder set up here today, and for the first time ever, we're debuting a wheel guard and a belt guard. And the reason for that is that we feel that we should be showing every possible safety precaution as we do these things. Now, why haven't we had these things on in the past? That's a perfectly fair question. And the reason is, well, there's a bunch of different reasons. And first off, while grinding wheels can explode, they don't just up and explode. They have to have been mistreated in some way, or they have to be used in an inappropriate way to cause them to explode. So it was my mom that actually brought up the point, well, not everyone knows how to appropriately use a grinding wheel. And if people are wanting to do what you do and get any of it wrong, then they could potentially, hurt themselves. And I thought, well, that makes an awful lot of sense. So we're just gonna, whenever possible, use a wheel guard and the belt guard. So without further ado, we're going to change the angle of this tapered reamer by 1 degree. So I've done some trigonometry here, I've done some math, I've figured out exactly what angle this thing currently is, and it turns out it's not like a nominal anything, I don't believe. This is 1.2679 degrees taper. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn that into a 0.2679 degree taper, which is exactly 1 degree less. Now this is going to be kind of tight because we actually have to take about 40 thou or 1 mil off of this end of the reamer in order to reduce it. And we're going to be running low-ish on flute. So now you do need a flute, of course, and when you reduce a flute, one thing is you have to watch your chip build up in there more carefully. So that might lead to more pecking as you're reaming, just to clear those chips out more often than you would have had to when the flute was this deep. There's a bunch of different ways you could do this. For example, if you had a spiral flute reamer, then you would have to have a stationary pointer that you followed back and forth as you were grinding. And that would also work with a straight fluted reamer. It's just it would follow straight across. What I want to try and do today is set up a sensitive workhead. Now, if these teeth are all timed perfectly, then that'll work great. In the event that they're not, then I'm going to have to revert back to the finger so that the tops of all the teeth are in the proper place. So that'll be one of the first things I check when I set this up, is to make sure that all of my tooth faces are running on 0 as I index this thing. I've learned with tapers, it's just crazy important that you do everything. Every single step of the way has to be just as accurate as is humanly possible, or it's just never going to work for you. Now, in this example, we're not even going to be able to check our work because we're making a oddball taper. And so doing the math, following the math, and making everything just as close as you can is your best chance at success. I'm going to be using my swivelable table here to set this angle. So step 1 was I dialed this table into just perfectly 0 as best I could anyhow. And now I've got my sensitive workhead up here and my tailstock up here. I need to get my sensitive workhead pointed exactly at my tailstock, and so the way I've done that, I've got some spring pressure on my tailstock, and I've got it in the center hole of this arbor. Now I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to loosen this one off and then snug it as I'm spinning this arbor, and now I'm going to loosen the rotation lock off, and then I'll snug it as I'm spinning the arbor. And now I'm going to go back to this, loosen it and snug it again as I'm spinning, And then I'm gonna do this one again. And then probably one more time to both of them. And now I can trust that my sensitive workhead is pointing exactly at my tailstock. Now that I believe it's set up correctly, I'm going to take a different arbor and I'm going to put this between centers and make sure that it indeed runs perfectly zero across that length. So that is running zero. We can move on to our next step. Now that we know these two guys are pointed exactly at each other and anything we put in here is going to be aligned with the center line of this table that swivels, I'm going to check now and make sure that the flutes on this reamer are in fact on index to each other, because that's going to be super important if we're going to use this method. So I've got a test dial set up here. And what I'm going to do is just come into each tooth, face, so that's running zero. That's running zero, and so on, all the way around. And if they're all running zero or very close to it, then I'll know I can use this method of indexing. If I find that they're all over the map, I'm going to have to go back to a finger that, in the case of a spiral flute reamer, it would have to be fixed to the grinding head and you'd follow it. But in the case of this straight flute reamer, the finger could be pointing just at each tooth. And then it would ensure that each tooth's face came to the exact same height as every other tooth. And then indexing wouldn't matter. The timing of the teeth wouldn't matter if you use that method. I hope that makes sense. So now that we know that this is doing what we want it to do, I'm going to pull some of this stuff off of here and we're going to begin doing the actual setup to create the angle that we want to grind onto this reamer. Most dial indicators have 1 inch travel, and you could do the math on the angle you want to create and then get your table running exactly 1 inch, but any that you were out would be multiplied times however many inches long your reamer is, and so that's not the most ideal method. Now, if you had a DRO, a digital readout, that would be great for this part of the setup. You could just establish a length and have your stop set up and then dial your taper in across that length and then you'd be sure. But we don't have that, so we're going to have to find another way. The most accurate thing I have here at my disposal is my height gauge. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my height gauge up in such a way that I can use it on the machine as a digital readout, or a dial readout in this case. I've never actually used my height gauge for something like this before, and so I didn't necessarily trust it right away. So what I've done is I've hooked a second dial indicator up, and I want to make sure that I return to zero on both dials at the same time. And so you can see I'm at a stop here. I come to the stop, both dials are on zero. When I come away 10th thou with my height gauge, I've also come away exactly 10th thou with my dial. So now I can trust this setup. I was super careful to dial this surface in so I wouldn't be putting any strange strains on my height gauge. And so now I've got zero here, I've got zero here. I know I want to dial a distance of exactly 6 11/16. So I'm going to go ahead. I've already set a stop down here. And we stop exactly at 6.6875, which is what we need. Now we know our stops are in the right place, so we can begin the setup of, or the process, sorry, of getting our table dialed to the exact angle we want. I've got the swiveling part of my table loosened up, and I've done the math, the trigonometry. I know what I need this dial to read, over this length of travel that I've very carefully set. So I also know that the table needs to go in this direction. So I'm going to move it just some random amount, and I'm going to start off by seeing what that's going to give me across this known distance. Maybe you should get behind there. There we are at 0. We're shooting for 0.0312 thousandths of an inch, and we're very close. Well, that took an awfully long time to do, but here we are, and we're perfectly dialed in, as close as we're ever going to get to 0.0312 inches. Now that that's done, and I'm super confident, I've double and triple checked everything. It's as good as I could make it. So now it's time to get our tool back in there and start setting it up. Because we are dealing with a taper here, as always, the tooth face must be exactly at center height if this is going to work out at all. There we are, we're perfectly at center height, and we're ready for the next step. Next thing I'm going to do is adjust my wheel height, and it's going to be that the wheel being below center that creates the clearance angle behind the cutting edge. So what I've done is through trial and error, I've lowered the wheel below center height and just wiggled the wheel back and forth by hand as I advance the table into the wheel, and you can see here by this rub mark that I was basically I'm touching with my wheel right from the leading edge of the tooth all the way to the back of the tooth. And so what that's telling me is that we're going to pretty much exactly recreate the clearance angle that was already on here. These stops I said earlier for the dialing in process of the angle are no longer needed. No matter where I am on this table, it's all going to be running at that taper we've set. So now I need to reset these stops so I don't go smashing into my sensitive workhead or my tailstock. So that's what I'm going to do next. Well, we're all set up. I'm feeling pretty confident. I feel I've double and triple checked everything I could. So now, because we're making this smaller angle, we're going to touch down at this end first. So I'm going to move on down there, touch off, and then it's just a matter of going back and forth and around with some infeeding until we get that whole clearance angle cleaned up right from one end to the other. So I'm cleaned up right to the end. Now what I'm going to do is make one more really fine infeed, and I'm going to travel more slowly down the length of this reamer to give it a super nice surface finish, as nice as I can. So that's it for this job. That guy's done, and I can pull it out of the machine now. At the beginning of this video, I promised you guys there was something new going to be announced at the end, and so here we are. In our last video, we announced that we had enabled the super thanks button on our channel, and sure enough, we did get a super thanks. It was enormous, super generous. I don't know if they got their decimals mixed up or what. But from now on in, anyone who's ever given us a super thanks, their name is going to appear on a list that's going to scroll down at the end of the video. And once your name's on that list, it's going to stay there. And just to show our appreciation, it helps us out amazingly. So if you're enjoying these videos and they're helping you out at all, feel free to check it out. You certainly don't have to go near the thanks button, but it's there if you want to. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.